What if the absolutely staggering complexity of life, everything from a single cell all the way up to the entire human genome, could be described by one single, elegant mathematical formula? I know, it sounds like something straight out of science fiction, right? But it's a question that has driven decades of really serious research. So let's dive in and explore that very idea. So let's just start with that big question, head on. Is there a fundamental numerical blueprint hidden deep inside our own DNA, a kind of source code for biology itself? Well, that's the exact mystery we're going to unpack in this explainer. You see, the whole search for this formula is really guided by a simple but incredibly powerful idea. It's articulated here beautifully by the late Nobel laureate Luc Montagnier, who actually collaborated on this research. The idea is that nature isn't just random chaos. It's built on patterns, on harmony, and on a kind of mathematical elegance. Okay, so where in the world do you even begin to look for a code like that? Well, for one researcher, the very first clue popped up in a pretty unexpected place, the world of artificial intelligence, and it pointed to a mathematical pattern he believed was woven directly into our DNA. So this is Jean-Claude Perez, and his story starts way back in the 1980s. He was a computer scientist at IBM, working on the cutting edge of artificial neural networks and self-organizing systems, long before that stuff became a buzzword. His big focus was on how incredible complexity could just emerge from a few simple rules. And this slide really shows you how that intuition evolved over time. He starts in the 80s with AI, but then, in 1990, he has this breakthrough moment. He finds the golden ratio hiding in a fractal equation. That discovery was the spark. He gets inspired by the huge Human Genome Project, and he spends the rest of the decade searching for that exact same mathematical signature in our DNA, publishing his first findings in '97. And just for a quick refresher, the golden ratio, also called phi, is this famous number, about 1.618. You see it everywhere, in the spiral of a galaxy, the petals of a flower, the proportions of the Parthenon. It's deeply connected to the Fibonacci sequence, which is itself a fundamental pattern of growth in nature. Okay, so here's the big leap. Perez's hypothesis was that this universal constant of harmony wasn't just something we see out there. He proposed that the very building blocks of our life, the T, C, A, and G nucleotide bases in our DNA, are actually arranged in proportions that resonate with these Fibonacci numbers. But listen, that was just the beginning. Discovering a pattern is one thing. Figuring out the underlying operating system is something else entirely. The research then took on an even bigger, more ambitious goal, finding a single unifying language for all of life. So here's the fundamental problem Perez was trying to solve. Biology seems to be multilingual, right? Information is stored in DNA, then it's transcribed into RNA, and then it's translated into proteins. 3 totally different chemical languages. Finding a single metacode that connects them all, that would be like finding a Rosetta Stone for life itself. It could potentially unlock a whole new understanding of genetic diseases, evolution, you name it. To find that code, the research went back to a first principle, which Kepler stated so beautifully. The common denominator between DNA, RNA, and proteins isn't really their shape or structure. It's their basic physical properties, their atomic mass, and the geometry that mass creates in space. And this is the result they claim to have found. The research came up with a formula that turned both DNA sequences and their corresponding protein sequences into numerical values, all based on their total atomic mass. When they plotted those values, like you see here across all 23 human chromosomes, the two sets of numbers showed this incredible correlation. This suggested a deep, mathematical link between the blueprint and the final product, even in those huge regions we used to just dismiss as junk DNA. So this hunt for a universal code for biology led to a totally unexpected discovery, not in biology, but in the world of pure mathematics, a brand new object, a kind of hidden reflection of one of the most famous patterns in all of math. Yeah, we all remember Pascal's triangle from math class. Each number is just the sum of the two numbers right above it. It's simple, it's elegant, and it is jam-packed with amazing mathematical properties. But the researcher asked a really fascinating question. What if this whole process of creation by addition had an opposite, a kind of digital antimatter? What would a triangle built on subtraction even look like? And that question right there led to the central revelation of this entire theory. And here it is. This is the Perez Hourglass. The top half, the north, is the world we know, Pascal's triangle built on addition. But the bottom half, the south, is its mirror image, its false twin, generated by subtraction. It's a single, unified fractal object with two opposing yet perfectly connected halves. Now, this object isn't just a cool-looking pattern. It's claimed to have some truly extraordinary mathematical properties. For instance, its diagonals generate the entire Fibonacci sequence. Its rows give us the first-ever geometric proof for a 256-year-old numerical pattern called the Lichtenberg sequence. And, maybe wildest of all, it creates a perfect parity entanglement. Every single number faces another number of the same kind, odd facing odd, even, all the way down. This comparison really nails why they call it a false twin. Where Pascal's triangle is built on addition, its southern twin uses subtraction. Where Pascal's is perfectly symmetrical, this twin is lopsided, asymmetrical. And check this out. While the row sums in Pascal's explode exponentially as powers of 2, the row sums in the southern half are always 2, every single time. It's a perfect shadow. So, okay, we've got this beautiful mathematical object with all these strange properties. What does it all mean? Well, the research proposes that this isn't just some mathematical curiosity. It could be a blueprint with profound implications for technology and maybe even our understanding of the universe. These unique properties of the hourglass, like its numerical entanglement and its strange dualities, are being suggested as a potential foundation for some really next-level technologies. We're talking about a new type of associative memory for AI, a possible framework for building fault-tolerant quantum computers, and even new forms of unbreakable cryptography. And this brings us right back to that deeper quest for meaning. The great mathematician Ramanujan believed that math was a window into the divine. This quote just perfectly captures the spirit of this kind of research. The search for these fundamental patterns is about way more than just numbers. It's a search for the logic that's embedded in reality itself. Which leaves us with this one last big thought to chew on. From the golden ratios supposedly in our DNA to the hidden symmetries in Pascal's triangle, this whole journey suggests there might be these deep mathematical harmonies underlying our very existence. And the question isn't just whether there's a formula for life, but whether the entire universe is a kind of message written in a language of numbers that we are only just now beginning to learn how to read.